पुणे तिथे काय उणे? Punekars say Pune is the perfect city where you see unending constructions and traffic and cafes and traffic and IT hubs and traffic. But let me tell you a secret. It's more than just that. Pune is a story of ambition, betrayal, courage and drama enough to rival your favorite OTT series. So let's rewind and see how this city became what it is, and I promise you, you will never look at it the same way again. This is the story of Pune. What if I told you that before Pune was even a word, this land was already alive with hunters, gatherers, hippopotamuses, ostriches, and mammoths? Hard to believe? To understand how Pune became Pune, let's go back. Let's go way back to the very first Punekars.
To meet the OG Punekars, I turned to renowned archaeologist Dr. Amrita Sarkar.
There was no Shaniwar Vara, of course. There were no Aga Khan Palace. If we want to go back, say 7 lakh or 8 lakh years, imagine a landscape where you have a lot of trees, you have forest covers. It's also surrounded by the Sahyadris. We have caves and rock shelters. People were completely hunter-gatherer collectors.
Welcome to the OG Pune.
We made our own tools, hunted our own dinner.
जहां ना दौरबजे था ना वैशाली, हम ऑस्ट्रिच का शिकार करते थे. We had hippos, the actual Kotrutkars. They too never crossed the river. हमारे पास केपी के क्लब्स नहीं थे. हम एक दूसरे को फायरसाइड स्टोरीज सुनाते थे.
Before you called it Pune, it was our jungle.
यहाँ एफसी रोड के शॉपकीपर्स कस्टमर्स का पीछा नहीं करते थे, हमारे पीछे मैमथ्स पड़ते थे. भागो!
Pune was always alive and kicking, but how did this forest of cave dwellers turn into a buzzing hub of trade and commerce? Let's find out. Humans ditched caves, built homes, and started swapping goods, and that's how civilization was born. Cut to the Satavahanas running the Deccan. A massive trade route cut straight from the Kalyan port through Nanighat, just a couple hours away from today's Pune, now thronged on Sunday by bike riders. And right there on that dusty trail, a tiny settlement started breathing. Dynasties rolled in. Vakatakas came first, and then the Chalukyas flexed their power and moved on. But Pune, still low-key, still buffering. Then came the Rashtrakutas in the 8th century, and suddenly the silence broke. This wasn't just a backwater anymore. But the main question remains, what flipped? How did this blink and miss village force history to say its name and the correct one? Pune, not Pune.
When it comes to Pune's history, no one knows it better than the veteran historian Panduranga Barkawde of Bharat Itihas Samshodak Mandal.
राष्ट्रकूट राजा पहिला कृष्ण आणि त्याची पत्नी यांच्या लग्नाचा वाढदिवस होता आणि त्या निमित्ताने त्याने आपल्या पत्नीला काही वर किंवा काही मागणी करण्याचा आग्रह धरला. त्यावरून राष्ट्रकूट राजा कृष्णाच्या पत्नीने त्याच्याकडं असा आग्रह धरला की आपल्याकडून एखादी अशी भव्य वास्तू निर्माण व्हावी की जिची जगामध्ये कीर्ती होईल. हा विचार करत असताना मुठा नदीच्या काठावर आजच्या शिवाजीनगर भांबुर्डा गाव ह्या परिसरामध्ये सपाटीखाली मोठा खडक आहे अशी त्यांना जाणीव झाली आणि त्या जमिनीखाली एक त्यांनी लेणं कोरलेलं आहे. त्यालाच आपण पाताळेश्वर लेणी असं म्हणतो. ते हिंदू लेणी असल्यामुळे ब्रह्मा, विष्णू आणि महेश अशी 3 गर्भग्रह असणारं हे लेणं निर्माण केलं गेलेलं आहे.
It was in this era that Pune's first ever name was recorded in history, and along with it, the name of a man who lived here 1,000 years ago. What did he see? What did Pune look like through his eyes? Let's find out from the man himself.
My name is Pugadi Bhatt, a simple Brahmin who one day got the gift of a lifetime. On a new moon day in 758 CE, King Krishna Raja of Rashtrakuta dynasty himself handed me a copper plate. My reward? A whole village, Bobkhel. Its borders, Kalas in the east, the river Muila, today's Mulla, in the south, Dapodi in the west, Bhosari in the north. All of it part of Punya Vishaya, what you now call Pune.
Back then, a Vishaya wasn't just a name. It was headquarters, the heart of hundreds of villages. Here, the tax hall buzzed with life. Grain sacks piled high, copper coins clinking, scribes scratching on palm leaves.
And at the center of it all, our pride, the Pataleshwar temple, a place not just of worship, but of community, power, and promise. This was Pune's first heartbeat, and I was there to hear it.
But how do we know Punya Vishaya was kind of a big deal? Well, one clue. Another copper plate, this time from the Silara king Aparjita, found all the way in Janjira. He literally bragged about conquering this land. But power shifts faster than Punekars give their opinion on a topic. Soon the Senu Yadavas rolled in and took over, and with that the name changed too. Punya Vishaya became Punaudi. But Punaudi was not just changing rulers, it was also getting a spiritual glow up. Suddenly, it had two major temples, Punyeshwar and Narayaneshwar.
आणि आळंदीच्या दक्षिणेला पुण्यग्रामामध्ये नारायणेश्वर आणि पुण्येश्वर ही दोन भव्य मंदिरं आहेत असं संत श्रेष्ठ नामदेव महाराज आपल्या अभंगामध्ये वर्णन करतात. पुण्याचा पुण्येश्वर हे शिवमंदिर होतं आणि नारायणेश्वर म्हणजे विष्णू, विष्णूच्या नावाने उभं राहिलेलं शिवमंदिर.
These temples were proof that Punewadi was once a major spiritual center, a prequel to the Oxford of the East tag it is known for today. But this was not the only identity this place carried. In fact, the spiritual nature took a backseat to something explosive, way more explosive. For centuries, this land was peaceful, but it was at the intersection of a number of trade routes. Konkan to Eastern Deccan, Surat to Bijapur. If goods were moving, they passed through Punavdi. And Punavdi knew how to protect her hustle. Sahyadris had her back. Forts like Kondhana, Chakan, Shivneri, Purandar, a whole squad guarding her. Punavdi was slowly becoming a crucial possession for any ruler in the Deccan. And then Alauddin Khilji entered the chat. New rulers, new rules. And Punavdi started changing surely. But when power keeps shifting, there are parts of the city that stay and some get rewritten.
1328च्या सुमाराला इथे बडा अरब नावाचा पहिला मुस्लिम सत्तेचा शासनकर्ता किंवा सुभेदार असल्याचं आपल्याला दिसून येतं. तो मौलवी शेख निजामुद्दीन याचे 700 शिष्य इस्लाम धर्माच्या प्रसारार्थ दक्षिणेत आले. त्यापैकी 2 शेख सलाहुद्दीन आणि शेख इसामुद्दीन जंजानी हे 2 मुस्लिम फकीर मौलवी इस्लाम धर्माच्या प्रसारार्थ पुणे परिसरात आणि पुण्यामध्ये आले आणि त्यांनी या बड्या अरबाला प्रेरणा देऊन यादव काळात निर्माण झालेली नारायणेश्वर आणि पुण्येश्वर ही 2 उत्तुंग मंदिरं त्यांचा विध्वंस केला.
To relive this fascinating era, I joined historian Ashutosh Potnis on a captivating heritage walk.
We are standing in the heart of Pune, known as Kasba Pet. Located to the south of the Mula Mutha Sangam, this place has been continuously inhabited for at least 2000 years now. Pune is a land of varying topographies. It is very common to hear वरच्या अंगाला जा, खालच्या अंगाला जा, वर जा, खाली जा in parts of the old city. This phenomena in the language is due to the topography of this place. One such small hillock is located right behind me. In the early times, this area was called as Munjeri or Munjobacha Teka. In the 14th or the 15th century, this Munjeri hill was fortified by an Arab general called Bada Arab. He christened the fort as Kile Hisar. These are Arabic and Persian words which were making their way into the Marathi lexicon for the first time. A large chunk of Kile Hisar's walls were located along the Mutha river. It had 3 to 4 gates in total. One such gate was located right behind me. These are the steps that led to the gate of Konkan Darwaza. It was named so because it faced the Konkan coastline. Apart from these steps, there are many relics of Kile Hisar that are still scattered around Kasba Pet. These relics tell the story of Pune's earliest fort.
And with the completion of this fort, Punewadi officially got a new name, Kasba Pune. In medieval times, Kasba meant the main offices of nearby villages or parganas, and thus began a new chapter, a chapter that would change the destiny of this place forever.
Pune changed rulers many times. First it was Delhi Sultanate, then Bahamani. Finally, Nagar Nizam Shahi captured it. Nizam's Prime Minister Malik Ambar decided to reward one of his most successful Sardar, Maloji Bhosle, with the Jagir of Pune, a fierce warrior and leader. Maloji died fighting in Indapur, quite close to Pune, and the Jagir passed to his brave and ambitious son, Shahaji Bhosle. Shahaji became a big deal. 12,000 troops under his command held the forts between Nashik, Pune, Nagar and northern Konkan. He was a major thorn in the Mughal eye. To defeat him, Mughals joined hands with the Bijapur Sultanate. Surrounded on all sides now, he was forced to join the service of the Bijapur Sultanate. But Mughals were still scared of him. So they demanded that Shahaji should be stationed in the south, far away from the Mughal borders. To punish Shahaji, Pune was wrecked by his enemies. Most families fled. The city was plowed with a donkey. Yes, a donkey. Back then, it was the ritual humiliation of land, a curse saying nothing here will ever grow again, and a challenge to anyone who dares to change the fate of it. But somewhere in the shadows of this destruction, a mother and her son were getting ready to change the fate of this land, and along with it, the entire subcontinent. The sun of Swaraj was ready to rise.